Hello, dear friends, and good morning on Sunday, the last day of this week, when we are going to have the two luminaries in air signs. Today, the moon is also ingressing in Gemini, and this will bring more importance. We will notice more this energy, the air energy around us, which means that it's a great time for exploring some ideas. It's a great time to bring more variety into your life and not to focus on only one particular thing. Try to focus more either on a few things or to kind of like mix them all together. The other thing which is specific for the day is that the mutable energy is really dominant. We have 5 planets out of 10 in mutable signs. Those are Gemini, also Pisces, and Sagittarius. So 5 planets in those signs. And the mutable energy is about noticing what's happening in the world around you. In other words, noticing the environment, aligning to the environment, and kind of like coming from a place of what's currently needed, how you can kind of like match this rather than to try to define everything or to fight for it or to insist on one particular thing. The mutable signs are the most adaptable to the closest environment. And it's almost like, asking yourself, what would be the smartest thing to do right now in terms of, achieving results? Not from the place of, what do I want? What do kind of like I want to push into the world or insist on, but rather than, there is a world around me and there are certain things that could be beneficial or that the world may need or people around me, and to try to kind of like answer those needs. And this is not from a place of ignoring your own needs or kind of like trying to please others necessarily. No, it's more about finding out what would bring the best results depending on your priorities and aligning to this, adapting to it. So, a little bit like, being smart and efficient. The Gemini moon in particular is very supportive for this. So try to look at things from a lighter perspective. Don't necessarily try to go extremely deep or to make things complicated. Instead, see, like, okay, with this really light attitude as much as you can. What is currently the most important? How can I align to this? What can I do? And to have this observer perspective, Gemini really is not too attached, not going extremely deep, but instead is being smart and efficient because of that. So, if we can use this approach today, it can really help us in everything we may want to focus on: communication with other people, spending time with friends or anyone else overall, or if you want to plan your work for the week, also, it's a good day to focus on this because this perspective, the air perspective, both luminaries again are in the air signs today. This perspective can help you to be less subjective and to really see, okay, what is the smartest thing to do right now? Because often, if we are too attached or we have extremely strong and specific desires, we kind of like want the world to fit this, and we are not necessarily paying attention to what the world really needs or what would make sense right now. So, this a bit more rational, objective, light perspective is very helpful if you want to make some kind of plans without extremely strong attachment to any particular idea, goal, vision, desire, or anything like this. So, again, you can plan your week or maybe even a longer time ahead and see What would bring you this light? Also joyful energy that brings variety as well. Specifically on Sunday, we will also have a minor challenging aspect between the Sun and Saturn. This aspect is called square and a half, 135 degrees between the Sun and Saturn. This aspect can slow certain processes down and suggest that we may not be so willing to take huge risks, and perhaps it's not a smart thing to take huge risks. It's better to focus again on practicality and evaluating yourself properly. Here, there are a few options. You might underestimate your abilities. Saturn can kind of like suppress the sun. So there could be some kind of doubts. There could be some kind of fears. Would I make this work? Is it really possible for me? Yes, that's absolutely possible. But also, Saturn, when we use it in a harmonious way, Saturn is the planet which can help us to see things from a really objective perspective and not to spread ourselves too much or too thin, or again, to kind of like exaggerate something or overestimate it. So, smaller steps today. Don't push yourself too much. It's not the time again for huge risks. If you want to do something, you have to make sure you are comfortable with the risk you are going to take, and it won't be too much for you right now. And on the other side, also for a more grounded perspective and more in touch with reality, Saturn is one of those planets that is in the mutable signs in Pisces. So look around yourself. If you want to accomplish something, whatever it might be, work-wise, in terms of relationships, in terms of your health, whatever it could be, try to focus on the objective facts, how things really are, and not necessarily how you would like them to be or how you imagine them they will become. It's more about, okay, where do I really start from? That's always, I would say, like a more sober perspective that could help avoid some potential disappointments. So that's how the day looks like. We have those air luminaries, we have the strong mutable energy, and also the challenging aspect between the Sun and Saturn. Last thing I want to add is that the Sun is getting into the critical degree area, the last 3 degrees of Libra, which also means that we may not be ready to start something really big, brand new right now. This phase, the last 3 degrees, they can bring possible hesitation, some kind of doubts, and that's again a normal process, especially when Saturn is also adding its own energy. So give yourself a little time. Don't push things too much. And again, try to focus on the practicality and the observer perspective. So thank you very much for joining me, my friends. Have a wonderful Sunday, and I will see you tomorrow.